Hey, what is going on? It is 12 noon on Friday, which means it's time for this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Carissimo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. I'm super excited to be with you guys here today and share with you a method that I wish I could take credit for inventing this because this is pure genius. It is what I believe to be the single best way to invest in real estate, and it is the BRRRR Method, the BRRRR Method. And we're going to be walking through what that means today. It's a very specific way of investing in real estate that is not necessarily just short-term or just long-term. It's kind of a hybrid concept where you get the best of the both worlds. A lot of people are interested in flipping real estate for a quick payday, but there's a lot of risk with the market changes that can change what that payday may be. And the thing is, even if you do time it right, that payday is not permanent. It's a one-time payday. As soon as you sell that property, you lost your Monopoly piece. I'll be making some Monopoly references today for all my Monopoly fans out there. I grew up on Monopoly, and that game teaches so many life principles as it relates to money. If you haven't been on Monopoly, go get on Monopoly. Go play Monopoly. I still play Monopoly to this day. But anyways, we're going to be talking today about the BRRRR Method and how you could not just get money, a big lump sum payment, but also have cash flow forever with real estate. And when you could get a big payday plus cash flow forever, oh my God, why wouldn't you want to do that? Usually the only thing stopping you from getting into doing that is having money to get started, having some money to have a seat at the table to play, because to truly invest in real estate, you're not necessarily treating that as a business where you're investing your sweat equity. There's a lot of real estate for it to be able to multiply money, not necessarily create money, but multiply money, and that comes from starting with money. But real estate is a great path to get there, and understanding this BRRRR Method, look, again, this is not something that I've created. This is not something I could take credit for. It's something that I've studied extensively and have used firsthand, and I can assure you that this method does work, and it's just a different way at looking how to invest in real estate. So if you're new to real estate investing, or maybe you've only done a little bit of real estate investing before and you've heard about the BRRRR Method and you want to understand it more, that's what today's show is all about. So all my people out there that are interested in investing in real estate, and even if you're not ready to start investing today, you want to start getting your mind right so you can seize the opportunity when it presents itself. And when you're in real estate, you will have those opportunities present itself. If you are a real estate professional, you will become a real estate investor if you want to. So that's what we're talking about today. I'm John Carissimo. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. You're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Carissimo, where today we're talking about real estate investing. Now, if you're new to State of Real Estate, we're here every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time. If you're not yet subscribed, ring that bell, hit that little bell icon, hit the subscribe button, whatever it is, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or on our website. If you're on our website, give us your email. If you're not getting emails already, just call us up. We'll get you in there so that way you don't miss out on any of this info that we provide. You know, we do this also to increase the brand of Tampa School of Real Estate, but to do it in the right way, to do it in the way that shows us as a beacon of knowledge and success, and not just for the things that, you know, is our main day-to-day thing. You know, we don't have any courses that to sell you on real estate investing. We could sell you stuff, and, you know, we might have something like that someday, but right now we've got, you know, real estate licensing courses and real estate stuff. So this is something that is related, that we know people that are interested in getting a real estate license want to understand investing. Because you might be getting a real estate license to become an investor. Or maybe you already have your real estate license and you're wanting to invest. Or maybe you're already an investor and you want to become a better investor. That's why we do these shows, to make you a better, more effective real estate professional. So every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, if you're not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're doing here. Come on, hit that little bell icon so that way you don't miss out on any of this stuff. It's just a notification. Anyways, let's get into the BRRRR Method. BRRRR, there's a lot more R's here. I've always got to say it out in my head because I always lose track of exactly how many there are there. I know there's a lot of them though, but we've got buy. You first buy a property, then you rehab the property, and then you rent the property, and then you refinance the property, And what's great about the refinance is it gives you a big payday so that you could use the down payment to repeat the BRRRR method. It's as simple as that, and that's why I believe this is so genius. Again, I wish I could take credit for this. I did not invent this. There's tons of books out there written about this. There's tons of other information. But if you're going to invest in real estate, this is the way that I recommend that you do that. It's a hybrid, again, of short-term and long-term real estate investing. The short-term is usually flipping properties. I'm not a fan of flipping. Flipping can create a big payday, but flipping is actually part of this here. The thing is, though, you're not necessarily ever giving up your Monopoly piece. So I loved Monopoly back when I was a kid. It's my favorite game. It still is my favorite board game, favorite game whatsoever to this day. Why? Well, I mean, you see what I do for a living. It highly involves real estate, and it's the most real estate-centric board game that's out there. But the way that I would always win in Monopoly, because I had Monopoly down, and what I realized the more it was that I play is the only way you will win is by owning property. Go try to win Monopoly without owning any property. You tell me how long you will last in Monopoly with no property. If you do not own property, you will lose the game of Monopoly. And I have news for you. That game is very similar to how this world works. If you never own real estate, you're going to lose this game. You'll never get that big payday where you will win and defeat all the other players. How do you do that? Yeah, you might be able to get by. How do you get by? Well, every time you pass go, you get paid $200. But are you going to win the game just getting paid $200? No, that's why you have to get in there and you have to buy property. Now, a big part of this BRRRR method, the second step is to rehab the property. So you're not necessarily buying top dollar premium perfect properties. You know, one of the big mistakes I made with Monopoly, and actually when I could get to that point, it always was a great payday. And actually, I wanted to always, whenever I'd land on, like, say, the Boardwalk or the Park Place or any of those fancier properties that command the way higher rents, whenever I'd land on those properties there, or I would try to buy them. I would take that opportunity and I would do anything I could to seize that opportunity. Why? So if you've never played advanced Monopoly before, where you start trading the properties around and selling the properties and whatnot, more so like the real world actually works with real estate, the best price you're going to get on any of those Monopoly pieces are usually going to be when you first buy it, the face value of the card. Because if you're playing it right, it should cost way more if you're reselling it. And you might be talking about, well, how advanced does Monopoly get? It can get really advanced, guys. It's a good game that teaches you a lot of real estate and money and life principles. So anyways, going back to the buying, you've got to buy at a discount to make this all work. And this is exactly what you see the companies like OfferPad, Zillow, the whatever Instant Offers, or any of these places out there that are the institutional buyers. You know, way back, the one I always remember was the We Buy Ugly Houses, or the little caveman guy cartoon. They would go buy property, and here's their secret. They have to buy at a discount. And typically, you're looking at the most 70% of what they call the after repaired value. So whatever that property would be worth, let's say it'd be worth $100,000 in repaired market condition, that means you shouldn't pay more than $70,000 after your repairs, after your costs are into that there. If you're going to need $10,000 in repairs, then you're going to have to probably pay $60,000. Which this makes it more difficult to start this process here. But if you break this spoke, if this does not happen here, it's going to be hard to make the rest of this stuff work. You might not be able to get the big payday out of this. And then it's just a long-term rental. And look, don't get me wrong. Without the refinance, without the BRRRR part of this, of making the huge upgrade, cash flow is always great. But that's the reason why a lot of real estate investors are not long-term investors, and they just get focused on flips and the short-term money. And that's more of more of a business than it is an actual investment, because it takes you a lot of time and energy and attention to do a flip. And that's actually what you are doing here again with the rehab stage. It is semi of a flip, but you're not letting go of your Monopoly piece. Because if you let that go, there's only so many pieces. That's a really good concept that Monopoly also teaches. There's no other properties that get added to the board. That's not an advanced rule. There are some advanced rules out there, but it's not that you get to add any more properties. Land is finite. There's only so much land on that board, as well as in this world, as well as in Florida, of wherever it is that you are. There's only so much land that's out there. So that property should always appreciate in value. But the thing is, you've got to find the deals. You've got to find where you could get in there and profit on the buy. That's the term that gets tossed around a lot with this Burr method, is to profit on the buy. Meaning that you're buying at a discount so that you make a profit when you buy the property. And then you're rehabbing the property. Not necessarily to turn this into some luxury property. That's another time, the thing that sometimes flippers get caught up on is making a property too luxurious, too nice, spending too much money to where they're now eating into their profit rather than increasing the home's actual value. So that's one of the dangers of flipping, especially when you're trying to flip a property into a luxury property. Maybe you over-improve it and you overshoot it, and now you've spent more money than you're able to get in the price, and that could be where, again, flipping might even lose you money. Whereas when you're using the Burr method, the ultimate goal of this property is not to sell it, it's to rent it. And so what you want to do is rehab it in mind for the level of a renter. Now, you could still do some nice things because, right now, an alarming statistic, and the reason why anybody that has the means to jump into something like this, or anybody that wants to jump into something like this, should try to get some speed and take time out of the equation with this, because right now, we are at a record level of not just renters, but high income renters. And that's the thing that makes this so huge right now, is because you could command a higher rent for a more luxurious property, a more upscale, a more elevated property. So this is not limited. The rental properties are not just low income renters. There are very high income renters out there. Again, a record number of high income renters. There's a lot of people that just don't want to deal with the hassles of home ownership, and they would prefer to rent. And you could profit on this. And again, that creates, and when things are new, when there's changes in the market, that's when you have the opportunity to get the big paydays. When everybody else already has this stuff figured out and you're late to the party, there's not as much money to be made. But as the market shifts, as the market changes, as there's more and more renters, and if you pay attention to the apartments being built now, especially in the Tampa Bay area, I know because I've been watching it, they're building more upscale, more luxurious properties because they know they could command a higher rent with a more luxurious and more upscale property. And so again, that creates a little bit more potential here, but again, we're still doing this for the level of the renter, so we're not going to go all out. So this is not going to be the most expensive rehab we could possibly do, but it is going to, again, do what we need to do to support whatever level of rent that we're trying to capture for the property. And so we get to this level here of where we're renting it. And if you stop here, you've already got cash flow, most likely. But now the question is, what is that property worth? Let's take a property that would be worth, let's say $200,000. Let's say you buy it. So let's say it's worth $200,000. That's our after repaired value. And let's say that you are going to buy it at 70%. And so let's say 70% of that $200,000 is going to be... Oh, my brain is not working today. I know I'm up here and I look like I'm good at math, but a lot of the time I'm honestly just using a calculator. So 200,000 times 70%, $140,000. Thank God for a calculator. So, and this is why you want to do the math, because even when my brain's on point, sometimes I get these numbers wrong. So always double check and recheck the numbers. You obsess about these numbers enough, these numbers will talk to you. I don't mean to sound crazy, but you look at these numbers enough, you read into numbers enough, and the numbers start to talk to you. And when you're investing, that's who you need to talk to, is the numbers. That's who you need to have the long conversations with, is the numbers. You don't need to have the long conversations with the naysayers, with friends or family member who might not understand how to do something like this. When you have the basis of understanding of what you need to do, you need to get in deep conversation with the numbers. So let's say, again, we're trying to buy this at maybe $140,000. And let's say we've got to do maybe 10,000 repairs. And so then maybe we're not going to buy it at 140, we're going to try to buy it at 130. Now you might be saying, okay, well, if the property is going to be worth $20,000 and after repair, or $200,000 and after repaired value, why would anybody want to sell it for just $130,000? Well, there's a lot of people that this would not be a good option for. Most people are going to want to put their property on the market, allow a fair amount of time to get it sold to a buyer who could usually use financing, because there's still a lot of home buyers out there. Even though we have record numbers of renters, there's still, it's still like just barely over 50% for renters still. I think maybe high 50s we're maybe in. So there's still a ton of owners out there. But if somebody wants to sell their property, and this is the benefit of having a real estate license when you're doing this as well, because you could find these opportunities, because you have the opportunity to be there first. You could position yourself to market yourself as, hey, I can help you sell your home. And when you meet with them to help them sell their home, to help them find out about selling their home, you're probably not going to get this if it's not in this perfect condition. If the property needs $10,000 worth of work and so on and so forth, you're maybe looking at being able to sell it around maybe $160,000, $170,000. Maybe not even that. So in reality, it's not that big of a discount, because the key thing is the condition is not perfect. And when people have properties that are in a condition that's not perfect, usually what happens is they're just trying to get out of there. And again, this is not always the case, but sometimes people do need to move quickly. And if you're going to have somebody with financing, it's usually going to take at least 30 days, if not more typically about 45 to 60 days, sometimes as long as 90 days or even longer than that, to secure the financing. So maybe 1 to 3 months you're looking at from the date we go under contract. So if we position this property, again, we're talking from a realtor brokerage perspective here, not as an investor. If we want to list this property for sale, maybe 160, maybe 170, but then there's going to be commissions and closing costs and all kinds of things like that. And so maybe after these 3 months, we're after our costs, then we're maybe at 145, 150, maybe only 140. So then at that point, really, maybe that extra $10,000 or $15,000 is worth it in terms of the time to say, hey, look, I'm also a real estate investor. And, we do have option A, which I just explained. However, if you guys need to get out now, I'm not going to push you towards whatever method. However, I do like to provide you options, so that way, based on what you really need, I could best serve you. So if you don't want to wait the 2 or 3 months to ultimately get this property closed, and it could even be longer than that if we have a deal fall through. We could do everything we can to screen out offers and do everything we can to check it, but sometimes these deals just self-destruct and there's nothing we could do about that. Hopefully that won't happen, and we're going to do everything in our power so that doesn't happen, but if that does, then we're looking even longer than, say, 2 or 3 months to get the property sold if it has to go back on the market and get remarketed and go back under contract all over again. So if you don't want to wait potentially a month to 6 months to get this property closed, maybe we do it as quick as a month, but maybe as long as 6 months if we want to do it in a retail environment. And again, in that retail environment, there's going to be some work that you've got to do to get the property in a condition so that we can market it, so that we could show it, that we could take pictures and videos and virtual tours and things like that, which again, this might be asking a lot, especially if time is not in their favor. If time is of the essence, as time is running out for them, maybe they just lost a job, or they got to move, or their income has changed, or some sort of circumstance has changed where they need to get out of the property right now, that's where they're willing to take, again, a little bit of a lower price. And you're not doing this to take advantage of them. You're just simply offering the option based around what you need to make the BRRRR method work. That's all this is. And this will not work for every single person. Not every single person is going to be willing to take the loss for the sake of time. However, there's a lot of people out there that do. And this is when you see things like Open Door, the Zillow Instant Offers, and all these iBuyer type of programs. They're buying at a discount because they're doing the BRRRR method at a higher level. Maybe sometimes they're flipping the stuff, but this is what they're basing their calculations on a lot of times. And again, depending on the market, these are our guidelines, but depending on your market here, this can ebb and flow. So this is not an exact science. This is still an art form. But this is the tent poles, the principles of this BRRRR method, because we haven't even got to the good part yet. The good part is when you get the financing. Really the good part, I like the cash flow, but the big payday, the big tax-free payday. Because as an investor, a lot of people when they first look at this and they say, okay, and I'll make my disclaimer, I'm not an accountant, I'm not an attorney, I'm not anything but a real estate broker and you know, a bunch of other things, but in a legal professional sense, I'm only a real estate broker and a real estate instructor. So consult your attorneys, your accountants, and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, so back to the stuff. This is money that's going to trickle to you forever as long as you keep that property rented. Some of the times it will rent out, but most of the time you'll keep it rented. And if you don't want to do that, you hire a property management company and you make sure the numbers work out to where you still get cash flow even with that property management company renting out the property. But then comes the refinance. So the name of the game for renting is cash flow. Everyone could probably understand that. $50 even if it's just $50. $50 going in your pocket every single month. Let's say you do get 100% occupancy, which is a little unrealistic, but let's just say it does happen. Your potential with only just $50 a month is $600 a year in your pocket, which maybe that doesn't excite you. But what if I told you that could be $200 or $300 or $400? Especially with the trends you see shifting right now with more and more luxury rentals, with more and more high-income people paying more and more money to rent. With as much inflation that's going on in there, folks, there's swings and changes in the markets going on right now. If you don't take advantage of it now, you'll be late to the party a couple years from now. You want to get in there as quickly as you can. If you don't have a real estate license and you're thinking about this, take time out of the equation. Start that today. You don't have to wait for everything to align. The stars rarely align for timing to be perfect for almost anything. So you just got to do this as imperfectly as you possibly can. And I say imperfectly because you're not going to do it perfect. And if you don't have, again, the money to invest yet, you're wondering, okay, how am I going to get the $130,000? Especially if this is a rehab property. Well, there's all kinds of ways to get like hard money financing and things like that if you can't already secure a loan on this property, a mortgage loan on the property. Depending on the condition of the property, that might be an option if you can't do cash. But look, if you're not in a position where you've got a good sum of money laying around to be able to acquire a property, use your real estate license to earn commission and keep reinvesting in your real estate business so you can build your pipeline and build your real estate business bigger. But a byproduct, a derivative of your real estate business, if you would like to be an investor, is an amazing source of being first in the door for potential sellers, where not only you could list their property, but they might be an opportunity for you to buy and use this BRRRR method to add to your investment portfolio. The rental, again, will give you cash flow. You know, maybe that's $200 a month. That's $2,400 a year. And you might say, all right, well, why am I doing all this for just $2,400 a year? This is about multiplying. This isn't about just having one rental property, and that's how the repeat comes into this here. And the repeat is another one that's going to be mind-blowing of how powerful it is. But before we get to the repeating, let's talk about the refinance. This is the probably single most genius part of the BRRRR method. So when you refinance, you're essentially, so let's say you buy here at 130. You put 10, 15,000, whatever it is, and work into the property, so you're $140,000 in on your cost. That leaves you $60,000. And yes, this is an oversimplification. If we're going to go through in detail and work out all the numbers, we'd be out here for hours. I want to give you guys a nice overview of this entire process start to finish. So if you're doing this in the real world, you're going to get a lot deeper with the numbers in this here. But with this $200,000 price point now, if we're taking out an 80-20 loan to value, 80% loan, 20% down, or 20% equity, I should say, because you already own the property here. So refinancing out now of that $200,000, 80% of that, my brain's working now, is $160,000. Could do that one in my head. I've done that math so many times before, and that's why. It's not that I could really, if I had to do the actual division and multiplication in my head, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. But you do these numbers enough, you do these calculations enough, and you start to understand how all this puzzle fits together. Again, the numbers will start to talk to you. So this gives you $40,000 in equity. So what you're going to have in this property is still $40K in equity. You're not selling the property. That $40,000 is going to stay in the property. That is, you could think of it like a savings account. You might want that $40,000, but you want to keep that $40,000 there because you usually have to have equity in the property. You're going to have equity in the property. Again, the finance, you usually can't go higher than, say, 80-20, usually. Maybe it's even less than that. Maybe you only get 75, but let's say you could pull out 80%, but that means you're pulling out $160,000 from the property. Now, if we originally bought it for $130 and let's say we had $10,000 in cost in there, that leaves you with $20,000 that you pull out from the refinance. And now, the thing about this $20,000, again, consult your accountant, I'm not an accountant, is this is a tax-free event because you're not necessarily receiving a payment. If you sold this property, if you sold the property, you would be subject to capital gains on $60,000 or whatever your capital gain or profit would be. And capital gains taxes, they are some of the lower tax rates that are out there, but it's still a tax. And it's still going to be quite a big sum of money, I would say, even if you're in the lower brackets of the capital gain tax. So if you sell it, not only do you lose your monopoly piece, but then the government's going to come in and take their piece of your profit as well. They say, oh, you made $60,000? Well, we're going to take a third of that, 20% of that, some percentage of that amount. Because, again, it's a gain. Whereas when you are refinancing, when you're refinancing and cashing out the property, it is not a gain. It is a loan, essentially. So that's the way you're kind of using this money here, is you're leveraging this asset. You're borrowing against the asset. You're borrowing against your equity that you have in the property because your rehab is going to build the equity. You're going to create equity in the property through the rehab because you investing this 10, 15, whatever it is, that's going to increase the value from what you bought it for to this after repaired value. And if you get it to that after repaired value, again, taking out an 80% loan, refinancing, cashing out of the property, you're taking out $140,000, but or $160,000, but again, after you pay off what you put into it, you're still left with $20,000. But now this is a tax-free event. Again, consult your accountant. But because this is a loan, it's essentially a loan. But you're like, why do I want to take out a loan? Well, the thing is, you're not going to pay that loan. Well, wait a minute, John. How are you going to tell me I'm going to take out a loan and not pay it? They're going to foreclose on the property. Then no. I'm not saying you don't pay the loan. Somebody's going to pay the loan. It's just not going to be you. It's going to be your tenant. Your tenant is going to pay down your mortgage for you. That's the thing that's so genius about this and why this can create infinite returns. Infinite returns. You go find me the stock that's going to give you infinite returns. Real estate can give you infinite returns because this will pay you forever. And once you've got this repaired, rehabbed, ready to be rented, and you keep it rented with a tenant, that tenant's going to keep paying down that mortgage for you. They're going to pay your utilities. They're going to pay whatever costs, the taxes, the insurance. They're going to pay all that and put some money in your pocket in the cash flow. That's the game with the numbers. Again, you got to talk to the numbers and make sure the numbers are going to do this for you. You got to have a conversation with these numbers. You got to really go through these numbers again and again and again and again to make sure this will all work. But when you dial in the numbers for these things to all work, it's crazy. Because look, the refinance, you don't have to do that just once. And one of the things that's going on like crazy right now is appreciation. So let's say this $200,000 property, let's say it becomes worth $300,000. This property becomes worth $300,000. Now, when we're taking out this 80-20 loan, and this is not going to be typical, but because there's a lot of appreciation, there's a lot of inflation going on. Again, the swings, the changes in the market, that's what creates these mind-blowing opportunities. If this appreciates to $300,000, and we take out 80% on that $300,000, we're taking out a loan for $240,000. Now, if our cost was $140,000, how much are we cashing out? $100,000. $100,000 cashed out, tax-free. Again, because this is going to be a loan. You're not getting income. This is a loan against your asset. But the genius part of this is as long as you keep this rented, the tenant's going to pay that loan for you. The tenant's going to pay all the costs. You're going to have zero cost when you keep the property rented. Now, it won't be rented every single month. Occasionally, you're going to have to evict people. And if that's a lot of work for you, hire somebody to do property management and budget in the cost on this here. But the tenant will pay the mortgage for you. You don't have to worry about paying the mortgage as long as you keep it rented. They're going to pay the mortgage. You get $100,000 you cash out from the equity. And what's the tenant going to do? As long as you got a tenant paying down the mortgage, this mortgage is not going to continue to be worth $240,000. You're going to continue to pay that down and down and down and down and down and down. Not you, your tenant. And then you could refinance this again in 10 years, 5 years, depending on how long it takes for the property to appreciate in value and for you to pay down your mortgage, or for your tenant to pay down your mortgage. You could keep cashing out the property and pulling the equity out. Again, just make sure all the numbers check out. But now you've got $100,000 to repeat the process, and you don't just have $40,000 in equity in the property, you have $60,000 in equity in the property. So you got $60,000 basically sitting in the bank of this house. There, if you ever did need to sell it, but however, you never, the last thing, the number one rule, they say the number one rule of investing in real estate or just investing in general is don't lose money. I might argue, now there are investments that turn out to be a bad investment, but if it's not a bad investment, if you're not breaking that rule, so let's not cancel out rule number one because don't lose money is a pretty valuable rule. But I would say for rule number two, yeah, don't lose money, but number two, don't ever sell. Don't ever give away your monopoly piece because there's only so many pieces on the board. There's only so many properties on that board. And once that's gone, if you ever want to get it back, you're going to have to pay way more than what you paid to get it. That's how real estate works. I know it might seem like sometimes real estate prices go up and down, but they don't go up and down. They go up. If you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, real estate historically has always gone up in value. Now, sometimes if you zoom in closely, you can see where it goes down in value, because I'm not going to say it doesn't go down in value. Sometimes it does. But if you could hold on to the property, and as long as you've got a tenant paying the rent, paying the mortgage for you, you never have to worry about losing the property as long as you keep that mortgage and all your other expenses paid. So your job is just keeping it rented. And you don't want that job? Hire a property manager who's good at that. They're going to cost some money, but as long as, again, you still got some cash flow, you're still getting money in your pocket every single month, you could pull out this money and then repeat this whole process. Go back and now you got $100,000 to go buy even more properties. And you repeat this again and again and again and again and again. You can do this as many times as you want to. If the numbers are right, this will create infinite returns. I can't think of anything better than infinite returns. Nothing gets better than infinite. Nothing gets better than infinite because there is no limit to infinite. The sky's not even the limit. The moon's not even the limit. You want to go to the moon? No, this is going to take you to Pluto. This is going to take you to the center of the universe. This is going to take you to a parallel universe because there's no limit to how far you could go with this. Well, I suppose there is only so many places to live on this planet. But right now we've got, I think, close to 8 billion people on the planet. So there's plenty of real estate that's out there. There's plenty of real estate that's available. And as these swings and changes happen in the market, pay attention. Be ready so you can take advantage of these opportunities. And again, a great way to get started in investing in real estate is by getting your real estate license. Because there's a big part of investing in real estate that requires you to know certain laws, that requires you to know certain things about what you can and can't do, that require you to have certain levels of access that you don't always have unless you have a real estate license. And not just a real estate license, but getting access to the MLS and all those other stuff that you can only get when you're a member of the Association of Realtors, the license, and blah, 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 all that other stuff. But it all starts with getting your real estate license. It all starts with just your pre-licensing course. So look, if you guys watch these shows and you don't yet have your real estate license, let's go. Come on, let's get you through this here. Let's take this information and put it to work. This stuff works. If you're sitting here wondering if, I wonder if this guy on the internet here really knows what he's talking about. Don't take my word for it on this. You know, some things we talk about on these shows are my original own ideas. Well, nothing's really original, so who knows? You could probably trace everything I say back to something. Sometimes I do invent words on here, so I'll give credit for that. But this method, there's books written about it. I did not invent this. You go find podcasts, YouTube videos, all kinds of things like that. Don't just take my word for this. You go ask anybody about the Burr Method, and it's hard to argue with infinite returns. And as long as you've got a tenant paying down your rent, And now look, if you're an accountant or any of the number people out there, don't take it the wrong way, the bean counters. I know people don't like that term, but there's only so many expenses and so many things you could do for twisting this. So this isn't about just having one or two properties here where you're so worried about the expenses and that little bit of cash flow. The genius of this here is that you could do this as many times as you need to, because as long as you come out of this with cash, as long as you come out of this with being able to refi, with being able to pull the equity out of the property, you're able to do this again. So as long as you structure this so you can have a refinance, you get to do this again and again and again and again and again. And when you can keep building your investment portfolio bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, that's how you get infinite returns. That's how there's no limit to how much money it is that you could make with this method. So again, this is just something that if you're interested in investing in real estate, this is something you should be looking into doing. However, if you're not in a position to invest in real estate yet, I get it. There was a time when I wasn't in a position to invest in real estate. And despite that, I learned everything that I could. And having a real estate license gives you so much more access, so much more potential. And the thing is, you could actually work side by side with people who are actually doing this. Because the people that are doing this, one of the things about creating these infinite returns, about being able to do this again and again and again and again and again, is you won't be able to do this all your own. If you're the one doing all the repairs, if you're the one doing all the property management, if you're the one doing everything, if you're a one-person operation, there is only so much, because that's where this isn't so much an investment, it becomes more of a job. So people that do this, investors that do this, do not do this alone. They do not do this by themselves. They have a team of experts, and you could be one of the people on that team of their experts. How do you get that position? How do you get that seat at the table? You provide value. You figure out what problem it is that you could solve for them, and you solve that problem. And you could have a seat at that table side by side with that investor, watching them do something like this, something similar, watching them buy and sell real estate, watching them make mistakes so you don't make those mistakes. And while you're doing this, you're earning commissions where you could start banking up this money, putting it in the bank, so that way you could eventually someday become a real estate investor. And you'll have so much more access and so much more potential than the average person does who does not have a real estate license, who does not have a real estate business, because again, there's opportunities through sellers. That's how a lot of these deals are found when people are saying, hey, I want to sell my property. I'm looking for what my options are and what it is that I can do. They're usually looking for a knowledgeable local expert. You know, these big companies, the big names, and hopefully none of them are watching so we don't lose our competitive edge here. I did at one point have some high-level executive from a certain very large real estate tech company in one of my weekend prep classes before they launched their iBuyer program here. So I feel obligated to share this with you because I feel like I'm part of the problem for helping that guy get licensed, for them starting this Zillow instant offers for all my anti-Zillow people out there. And look, don't hate on Zillow. They're out there making money. There's plenty of money to be made in real estate. And take note from what it is that they're doing, because they're doing this exact same thing. They're buying real estate at a discount because they're providing a solution to the problem people have. However, that big word Zillow, they might have a pretty website, but anytime you're calling some sort of publicly traded multinational corporation, that's intimidating. They got a whole team of lawyers to take advantage of you, and as a seller of your property, that's not something a lot of people are going to be excited to do. It's usually a last resort. So when you got a knowledgeable local professional that could come in and really have that heart-to-heart conversation, because look, when people get in a position where they need to get out of their property quick, that's not usually a pretty place. There's some reason. Maybe it's just lack of care and maintenance they provided for the property. Maybe they got themselves in over their head when they bought the property. Maybe they had some life event. Maybe they've got a friend or family member that's sick. Maybe they're sick. Who knows what it is where they need to be able to get out of the property quickly. And that's why there's tons of offerings and tons of options out there, again, like these iBuyer programs that provide this solution that is not right for everybody. But if you want to be able to do the exact thing as that billion-dollar tech company, you could actually go on here, find a property. This is the trick. That's why they spend millions of dollars in advertising about these iBuyer programs, is because they need to get in front of enough people, to find the properties, to find the deals where the situation is right for this person to sell at 70% of what the property could be worth, because that's not going to be right for everyone. But again, if you want to be the person out there finding these deals, you having a real estate business that's trying to help people with real estate, being that local expert, will open up these opportunities. And the more it is you study this and review this, and even if you're not ready to be an investor yet, again, you might not have the capital yet, that's okay. You'll get that capital. Keep banking up a little bit of money out of every commission check that you cash. every house that you sell and keep setting that money aside. You know, there's actually even a tool right in the MLS. So here in the Tampa Bay area, like mid-Florida, it used to be called the mid-Florida MLS. We use something called Stellar MLS now. They have a service in there called Remine. And through Remine, a lot of times you can actually get instant offers on a property from either Open Door or whatever the iBuyer is that they partner with. So you could provide that option even until you're in the position to where you can actually be the one making these offers on this property. And you could see what these companies are actually offering people to do this iBuyer program. And you'll actually see that some people take people up on these offers, take these companies up, these organizations, because it's not about the money. Because again, especially after you factor in the cost and the time, it might not be worth it for some people to try to list the property on the market. Because again, also if it's not in great condition, if it needs work, you're then only usually selling to investors. And so this kind of takes the middleman out of it and you go straight to an investor, takes a lot of time out of the equation, which again can be beneficial for people in this situation, which is why they might be willing to do that. So again, until you get into that position where you're capable of doing this, I highly recommend you get a real estate license, even if you got a job that you love and maybe hate your job. That seems to be what we find out, or at least the people that call us up, they're like, yeah, you know, my job sucks. I know, I've been there. I had a job before I did real estate and it sucked. It didn't at first. I loved it at first, but then it eventually started to suck. And so that's when I came into real estate, started out part-time, eventually transitioned into doing it full-time, and the rest is history. But it all starts with taking that leap of faith, making the decision that someday I want to be a real estate investor. And not even that you are a real estate investor. You just don't have any properties in your portfolio yet. Here, you are a real estate investor, you've got the mind of a real estate investor, you just don't have any properties in your portfolio yet. Because you're not at that stage yet in your real estate investing business. And again, what stage are you at for your real estate investment for raising capital? Well, that's maybe where you got your real estate license. And you're out there practicing real estate, learning the ins and outs of real estate and getting paid to do it. And again, banking up money into that investment fund for you so that way, when the opportunity presents itself, you can take advantage of that and begin your journey on infinite returns. So this is really exciting. Again, I'd recommend you check this out, Google it, look it up. I didn't invent this. This isn't something I came up with. I can't take credit for it, but it's genius. I love it. I am proud to share this with you guys. I can tell you I've used it firsthand, and this does work. There's plenty of people I've talked to that use this firsthand, and it works. Yeah, you might still see people out there that are just flipping properties or people that won't rehab a property when they're doing long-term rentals, and you could still make money that way, but this is how you make the most money in investing in real estate. This is how you not just compete in investing, but how you dominate in investing. And if you look at, again, what the big investors are doing, a lot of times they're following the same method as well. So that's all the time we've got for today. If you guys liked today's episode on real estate investing and the Burr Method and you want to see more about investing, hit that thumbs up button, because that's what we use to gauge what topics you guys want to hear more about. Because ultimately we're doing these shows not just for us, but to help you guys, to show you the opportunities that exist in real estate, where if you already have your real estate license or maybe you're thinking about getting your real estate license, you see how to actually make money with that. Because this license doesn't matter if you don't make money with it. What are you doing getting this license if you don't have some way to benefit from it? And yeah, money is going to be part of it. Even if money isn't the number one reason why you're getting a real estate license, you still usually need to make some money off of it. A lot of people might be doing it more so for the time. Maybe they already make good money, but they want better control of their schedule. They want more time. Well, money allows you to do that. Because one of the great things about money is money can buy back your time. You know, maybe you're starting out something like this here, and you're investing sweat equity. And maybe you're a little handy, so you could do maybe some of this repair and rehab. That's where you're treating this a little bit more of a business. I mean, you're basically being a contractor when you're doing the work. And that could be a way to help get this going, to help get the ball rolling, but that's not going to be repeatable. You won't be able to get infinite returns because you only have so much time that you can invest. So you want to budget these numbers and do the numbers as if you are using a team of people to get this all accomplished. Because then you could do this and you're just the rain man finding the deals and putting the pieces of this together. Then you have your team that comes in, that rehabs it, the property management that handles the rental. You've got your finance guy that handles the refinance, and then you keep looking for more properties and finding more deals and repeating this process again and again and again and again and again until you get bored with it, or until you make so much money that you don't even know what to do with it anymore, and you're just like, why do I need to keep buying real estate? And maybe you just do that anyways, because why not? There's a lot of money to be made in real estate. And the huge part of this is the word passive. That's the number one word that gets people excited about investing in real estate, is passive income. And when you don't have to do the work, that's when it becomes truly passive. Your only job here, really finding the property, overseeing this, and keeping tabs on all this, but you do this on a big enough level, you could actually just be the one fronting this, providing the money. Your returns get smaller the bigger it is you go, and the more it is you step out of the picture. But here's the thing, you're able to buy back your time. Again, if you're spending all your time doing all the work to rehab the property, to rent it, to manage the property, and you're doing it all yourself, there's a very low limit on what it is that you can do when you try to do it all yourself. But as you're able to gain money, because that $100,000 there, or even at just 20 grand that you're pulling out there, that gives you the opportunity to buy back your time. And when you can buy back your time, you're able to do more faster. And when you can do more faster, you can grow bigger, you can grow larger, and that means more money. And when you've got more money coming in, you can afford to buy back more of your time. So yes, if you're interested in the scheduling aspect of real estate, being able to control your schedule, the money is how you control your schedule, with the ability to buy back your time. Because until you get to the point where you can buy back your time, you've got to invest your time, your sweat equity, to be able to create the money that allows you to buy back your time. So look, that's about all the time we've got for today. Again, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the content we're here to provide you guys and help you understand real estate and see the opportunities that are out there of all the ways it is you can make money with real estate. If you like today's episode, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so that way we do more videos like this, because we're, again, here ultimately to help answer the questions and show you the opportunities that will lead you to your desired level of success. Real estate is what you make of it, and we're here to help you achieve your dream real estate career. So to get started, just call us, 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. You can visit us also online at tampaschool.com. That's tampaschool.com. We're here to help you through this process. It takes a lot of knowledge. It takes a lot of information. There's a lot to building a successful real estate empire. But that's our mission. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help people build empires in real estate. Not just get a real estate license. That's where you start. That's the beginning. That's getting across the starting line once you've got your real estate license. That's where the real fun begins. So come have fun with us. Give us a call. Let us answer whatever questions you have and help you better understand how to do real estate, how to make money with real estate, how it is that you get started. Again, that phone number is 813-333-2676. That's about all the time it is that we've got for today. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're gonna love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam, because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline, I don't need to do post-licensing yet, but look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing. State of real estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're gonna love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. State of real estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.